Hi, this is Sean Hyde, and this is From the Desk of Sean Hyde. So today I want to talk about the Excel functions index and match and how they can be used together. This is one of the methods that I use in my valuation templates to prevent cells from referencing incorrect cells from other sheets as I bring data across from one sheet to another. So I want to show you how that works. So I'm going to go over here to my sheet names. If you haven't seen the video that talks about building this table of contents, you should, and I will link that down below as well. Let's go to the 5-year summary. Here's a spread of all of the company data. This is the balance sheet, this is the income statement, all the way down, right? So company information. This is the key. This data is going to be used throughout the spreadsheet to do an analysis for the valuation. I need to know what the expenses are when I forecast those out for the discounted future cash flow method. I need to know what the income is, the pre-tax net income, as I go through and calculate my normalization adjustments. So instead of going over to my statement here and just grabbing equals and navigating back to go click on the number here, which is what most people do, and then if you ever insert rows or columns or move anything around, this cell here may be referencing the wrong data now. I do what's called the index match formula, which you can see written out here. But I want to recreate it just for you. So this 163842, let's replace that. Equals INDE, starts typing out the index function. You can see it's highlighted in blue. If I hit the tab key, it finishes typing it and gives me the open parent. So the array, that's the area I want to look for this data, is going to be in my summary data. So I'm going to click Control, Spacebar, Shift, right arrow, and I'm going to select all of this data. And I'm going to hit the F4 key to lock this. Now, if you have any of the cells above for titles of the worksheet merged and centered, which a lot of folks tend to do, then this quick manner of selecting data, let me try that again. See my cursor moving around in column D? Control Spacebar. That only selects that one column. Shift, right arrow. If you have any of those cells merged and centered, this won't work. So we need to, let's talk about that first. As a matter of fact, let's go back to my data here. It looks like I've got a merged and centered, doesn't it? But I don't. If I were to merge and center this right here, it would be this button right there. Now if I go to click my one column, it selects the whole table, which is not useful. So I don't want to do that. So instead what I've done is I've selected all those cells. Control 1 is the keyboard shortcut for bringing up the Format Cell button. I'm going to go to the alignment window and then hit tab once. See this center across selection? Usually it sits on general. But if I center across selection here, then all of those cells that I have selected, it centers them over there. The data is actually located in cell B1. And those of you who are familiar with my templates, you can see the cell name, the formula is equals co_name. So doing that allows me to do the index match formula much easier. Let me go back and do that. Let's retype this. Equals IND, there it is, tab. I'm moving back to my spreads over here, Control Spacebar, and then hit the F4 key to lock. You can see right up here, I just locked that formula. That's where the array is. The data that I want to find is somewhere in columns D through H. So I'm going to hit the column button, and now it says the row number is highlighted over here. So the row number is going to be MAT match. See it's highlighted in blue, tab. Now lookup value. Let's go back to my normalized statement. Look up pre-tax net income. That's my label that I want. So I'm going to hit comma to move it over to my lookup array. Well, where are all of my labels going to be? Going back to the 5-year summary, all of my labels are in column B. Control Spacebar selects that whole thing. F4. Notice I still have indents done. Some people like to do different rows and stretch them out different columns and stretch them out different distances so you have the look of the indents. You don't need to do the different column technique because all of the labels, I want to keep them in one column so I can have access to this method much easier. I'll show you how to do the indents later on. So right now I've got all of that column B with all my labels selected. So I'm going to hit comma, match type. You have these three options. I'm going to use 0 because I want an exact match. Close parent, and I'm going to do comma, column number for the index formula. Let's go back up here, and I'm going to do MAT, match, but this way. I'm going to match the year. So let's hit lock that one. I want the row locked, not the column. I'm going to want the column locked over here. I didn't do that one. F4 3 times. There we go. Now I'm going to do the lookup array, comma to move to that section. Back in my 5-year summary, my lookup array has got to be the same columns, D through H, but it's just going to be the one row. So that's my lookup array. F4 to lock that, comma 0, close parent for match, close parent for index. Hit enter. Now I'm going to watch these numbers. I'm going to delete them. Copy this formula and just paste it across. Every single one of these formulas is looking for the column, 2019 highlighted there, and the row, pre-tax net income. So if pre-tax net income were to move, it wouldn't matter because my array is in all of column D and H on this sheet called 5-year summary. Pretty powerful. And now that I've written this formula on this one sheet, I mean, you got down here, I've got contributions and the PPP income, but I have this label here, equals, and it's going to click on the label over there on my sheet, which is exactly how I got pre-tax net income over here. I just clicked equals and clicked on it. Now, I do that because if I update the spelling of one of my labels on my spreadsheets, I want those same changes to match here on this particular sheet as well. So that's why those are linked. But because I have this formula typed out here, and I know these are also reliant on that same formula, but the blue cell is over in column A, where in this one over here is column B. Well, let's deal with that. I'm going to copy this formula. I'm going to show you how I deal with that. I don't even need to retype it. I'm just going to paste it. I'm going to paste the formula here. I don't want the formatting. And it's errored because it doesn't find the label less PPP income, because that is dynamic text where I type in the label less and I'm just linking to that label of the actual charge on the income statement. So what I'm going to do with this formula, I just copied it down there. I'm just going to grab this blue square, drag it over there and hit enter. Copy and paste. Ta-da! I'm going to do the same thing up here. So now that I have the blue over there in the column A, I can copy this whole row. I'm going to paste it above, just the formula. There we go, index match. So that way, if I have to come back to my sheet, if I have to insert columns or rows, maybe I forgot some expenses, let's find, maybe there's another income up here. Add some rows. You know, maybe I can move this, cut that, paste it there. It's a PPP income line. Doesn't care. It is still linked directly to that because it uses the label PPP income and year to find the number. Doesn't matter where in anywhere of these columns that data shows up, wherever the row that says PPP income in it and the column, wherever those match up, it's going to grab that number and put it on that sheet for me. Same thing for contributions and the pre-tax net income lines that are here. Pretty powerful. Now, what's really useful with that particular formula is a drop-down menu. Let's create a drop-down menu here because this is an index match formula, but this is just seller's discretionary earnings. let's do a drop-down menu. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to change the color just for fun, because I like the input idea, so we can find these drop-downs. Alt-A, VV. Do list, and the source is going to be, let's click through here to my 5-year summary. Oh, everything in column B. Let's change this to be B. Okay. Oh, that's right, I forgot to put the little colon in between. Now, I can go through and find everything I want in column B. Let's go find, let's see, there's net revenues. Let's find seller discretionary income. Should be down here, there it is. Already pre-calculated over in that sheet. Let's say, instead of seller discretionary earnings, let's do a price to revenues multiple method, shall we? So what are the revenues for that company? Find it, click it. Here come the revenues. We'll have to change the multiple, right? Because 2.6 times revenues is not appropriate for that kind of a valuation. But you can see the numbers will come back from the sheet. Whichever row I want, I can change the label and it'll bring it to me. If I want current assets, for example. So current assets are 0. Let's go back and check that out. Yes, current assets are 0. See, look at that. So this label is just a heading on my section, but over these blank cells, read as 0 across the drop-down menu. So let's go back over here. Instead of current assets, let's say cash. Or let's go move on down a little further and find net fixed assets. Why not? All the way down. If you really wanted to do the price to book value method, you could get shareholders equity. There it is. That's the multiple that's available from DealStats. I've never used it in any of the valuations I've done, but it's an option. So pairing an index match formula together with a drop-down menu, I mean, you can have all kinds of options now. And the index match formula prevents you from having to grab incorrect data. The equals and go click on something as stuff moves around. You don't have to have that anymore. Now, you may be asking me, why is this referencing up there? What's up there in that hidden area? It's grouped away. I group things because I don't want to lose them. If you hide cells or columns, sometimes they get lost. So I use grouping and leaves the box out there. Now, the difference is right here, this is formatted. Let me show you what it is formatted to be as general. And this down here is formatted to be, something custom. The format has an impact. So this is linked to that. It's text, so I can have all kinds of fun underlining with it. But up here, if I were to link to this other number that's text, it's not going to work. See? So instead, I have my number that's formatted the same as it's formatted on the subject sheet, the 5-year summary. Then this one is linked to that, but then formatted the way I want it to be so I can do the underline that I want. That's why that's up there. Anyway, any questions, feel free to give me a call, send me an email. Happy to discuss any of this kind of stuff with you.